Nobody, and I mean nobody, was prepared for what Caitlin Clark just did. Phones are still blowing up. Executives are reportedly pacing hallways like it's the end of the world. The WNBA front office is scrambling, panicking, desperately trying to contain the shockwaves. Because tonight, in a move so seismic it feels like the entire league just cracked in half, Caitlin Clark has rejected the new CBA proposal, and sources say the WNBA commissioner is absolutely blindsided. This isn't a negotiation. This isn't a delay. This isn't a misunderstanding. According to multiple insiders who contacted us in complete disbelief, Caitlin Clark's camp flat out refused to sign. One insider says the commissioner's face dropped like she just watched the league's future walk out the door. Another claims the room went so silent, you could hear the league's marketing budget scream. Phones started ringing. Emails started flying. Emergency calls lit up between agents, franchise owners, and national sponsors, who had been planning entire campaigns around Clark's meteoric rise. And if you think this is just business as usual contract drama, no. Absolutely not. Because the whispers leaking out right now are explosive. Some say Clark feels she's being undervalued. Others claim she's furious over broken promises. And one source, shaky voice, terrified tone, said, if she doesn't sign, everything changes. Fans are spiraling. Social media is melting. Comment sections are turning into riots. And the question hanging over the entire sports world is simple, terrifying, and impossible to ignore. What pushed Caitlin Clark to slam the door on the WNBA's biggest deal of the decade? And what happens now? The moment news leaked that Caitlin Clark refused to sign the new CBA deal, the entire WNBA infrastructure plunged into full-scale crisis mode. Not mild concern. Not tense phone calls. Actual panic. Because this wasn't just any player refusing a deal. This was the league's golden engine, the ratings magnet, the sponsorship supernova, the fanbase detonator, slamming an iron door in the league's face. And insiders say the way it unfolded wasn't calm or civilized. It was a meltdown behind the scenes that has every franchise owner scrambling, and every executive whispering behind closed doors like the league is seconds away from imploding. Multiple sources claim the commissioner herself was in the room when it happened. She reportedly walked in smiling, confident, expecting a handshake, a signature, and a press release ready to celebrate the future of women's basketball. Instead, she watched everything disintegrate in real time. Caitlin's camp didn't hesitate. They didn't sugarcoat. They didn't stall. They delivered a flat, icy refusal that hit the room like a slap. Someone in the building swears the commissioner literally said, "Wait, what?" like she had just witnessed an alternate reality. And that's when the leaks started pouring in. First came a voice message allegedly from someone inside the meeting, voice shaky, sounding like they were still recovering from the shock. She rejected everything, the whisper said. Everything. And she didn't even flinch. That clip spread like wildfire. Fans started losing their minds. Reporters dropped whatever they were doing and raced to publish emergency updates. But the real shocker was the second leak. A screenshot of a text from a high-ranking league official claiming, "She's calling their bluff. She wants changes we can't give." And suddenly, the entire internet froze. What changes? What did Clark demand? And why couldn't the league meet them? That question alone created a digital explosion. Comment sections turned into war zones. People started theorizing that Clark wanted financial parity. Others insisted she was furious about travel conditions. Some said she was demanding guaranteed international rights. And then a darker, more explosive theory emerged, that she felt betrayed by promises the league made during her unprecedented rookie season, promises they allegedly failed to honor. That rumor alone ignited a firestorm. But then a third leak hit, one that made everything even more volatile. An anonymous insider posted a paragraph that immediately went viral. There was tension the moment she walked into the room. This wasn't a negotiation. This was a confrontation. A confrontation. That word set the internet ablaze. Because suddenly, this wasn't about money. This wasn't about terms. This wasn't about standard bargaining. This was personal. Emotional. Months of pressure erupting. And when fans dug into past interviews, side glances, diplomatic answers, subtle frustration, they began stitching together a narrative the league never wanted public. The most damning detail came from a source allegedly close to Clark's inner circle. They said she went into the room feeling boxed in and fed up. That her rookie season came with expectations beyond any athlete in modern sports. That she was promised protection, investment, support, yet instead, she endured the most intense scrutiny, the harshest criticism, and the most polarized fan response in the league's history. And still, she delivered record-breaking numbers. Still, she drew millions of new fans. Still, she carried the league on her back. So the idea that she might feel mistreated wasn't far-fetched. But refusing the CBA, that wasn't just a message. That was a declaration of war. Then a new bombshell dropped, a leaked email chain that someone forwarded anonymously to reporters. The email subject line read, "Urgent, Clark situation escalating." Inside, executives debated potential fallout. Someone wrote, "If she walks, we lose everything we built." Another wrote, "Do not let her leave the table." And a third, more panicked message read, "Sponsor backlash will be catastrophic." That single word, catastrophic, set the world on fire. Because for the first time, it became clear the league wasn't negotiating from a position of strength. They were negotiating from fear. Deep fear. Existential fear. Fear that Caitlin Clark refusing the deal might unravel years of progress. That she might become the first superstar in history to challenge the WNBA from the inside and actually win. And then, the fourth leak hit. A private voice recording. Someone inside the meeting secretly captured audio of the final minutes before everything erupted. And the clip was chaos. Tense voices. Overlapping frustration. The commissioner trying to keep control. Advisors trying to calm the room. And over it all, Clark's voice, calm, steady, eerily composed, delivering a line that instantly became iconic. "I will not sign something I don't believe in." That was the moment social media ignited into full-blown hysteria. Fans declared her the new face of athlete empowerment. Critics accused her of destabilizing the league. Players across the country started posting cryptic messages. And one WNBA veteran, name blurred on the leak, sent a furious message in a group chat, "She's blowing everything up." But the chaos didn't stop. Because then the inside recordings got even worse. In the background of the clip, after Clark's refusal, a voice can be heard muttering, "She thinks she's bigger than the league." That line tore the internet apart. Debates raged. Fandoms fractured. Entire platforms turned into battlegrounds of accusations, defenses, theories, conspiracies. Some fans said Clark was bigger than the league. Others said no player should ever challenge the structure. But the most explosive reaction came from a mysterious burner account claiming to belong to someone involved in the new CBA negotiations. Their message was simple and devastating. She didn't just reject the deal. She threatened to walk. The internet erupted. Reporters scrambled. Analysts panicked. Headlines became catastrophic. Because if Caitlin Clark, a global phenomenon, a generational star, the league's biggest audience magnet, and the next meeting might be the one that breaks everything. The morning after Caitlin Clark's stunning refusal, the WNBA headquarters looked like a command center on the edge of collapse. Staff rushed through hallways clutching folders, whispering into phones, slamming doors behind them. Executives, who normally walked with quiet confidence, were suddenly pacing with bloodshot eyes and trembling hands. Because word had spread overnight, Caitlin wasn't backing down. Not an inch. Not after the internal leaks. Not after the social media meltdown. Not after every franchise in the league had essentially begged her to reconsider. And that's when the overnight recordings surfaced. A new voice message began circulating, this one from a league official who sounded exhausted, rattled, and terrified. "She's not bluffing," the voice whispered. "I think she might actually walk." That message spread like a virus. Fans replayed it. Reporters dissected every word. Players woke up to a reality they never imagined, that the league's brightest star was threatening to detonate the system from the inside. Meanwhile, across the city, Caitlin Clark's camp held what sources described as a closed-door emergency summit. Agents, advisors, brand representatives, even security personnel. Everyone showed up. Everyone looked tense. Because Caitlin's refusal had triggered a chain reaction none of them were prepared for. The meeting was supposed to be private. But of course, in a saga this explosive, privacy didn't stand a chance. A staffer leaked the first detail. The room was divided. Half of her team believed Caitlin should fight harder, push the league until it broke. The other half, terrified of backlash, urged her to compromise. "She's carrying too much weight," one advisor reportedly said. "The league will come after her." Caitlin's response shook the room. "I don't care." Those 3 words shot through the internet like lightning. Within minutes, the quote trended worldwide. But that wasn't the most shocking part. A second leak revealed the reasoning behind her defiance. A heated exchange that allegedly ended with Caitlin saying, "They used me, and now they think I'll just play along." That clip alone sent the entire league's image spiraling. Because if fans believed her, if they believed she had been exploited by the system she elevated, then public sentiment would turn violently against the league. And that's exactly what started happening. Fans protested outside WNBA headquarters. Someone live-streamed crowds chanting her name. Influencers called it the rebellion of the century. Major brands started posting cryptic messages supporting athlete empowerment. Even NBA players jumped in. One tweeted, "Pay her what she's worth," which sent every sports network into a frenzy. Inside the league office, chaos reached critical mass. Executives held an emergency meeting so heated, so unhinged, that someone secretly recorded it and leaked a chilling snippet. A trembling male voice said, "If we lose her, we lose our future." Another replied, "Do you want the truth? We already lost her." That line broke the internet. And within hours, the most catastrophic leak yet dropped. A screenshot from a private owners group chat. One owner wrote, "She wants full guarantees. Equality in revenue share. Charter travel. Media protections. The works." Another typed, "We can't afford even half of that." A third responded with pure panic, "Sponsors will walk if she walks." But then came the message that turned the league upside down. "She knows our numbers. She knows our weaknesses. She's using it against us." That revelation was more damaging than any video, any audio, any rumor. Because it meant Caitlin wasn't just refusing the deal, she had done her homework. She had studied their financials. She had analyzed their dependencies. She had found pressure points. And she was pushing them relentlessly. The league underestimated her. They thought she'd be grateful. They thought she'd be compliant. They thought they could make her the face of the league, without giving her actual power. Their mistake. And now, things were spiraling out of their control. The next twist hit like a meteor. A leaked email from a top executive to the commissioner: "We must consider suspending her if she continues to destabilize negotiations." That email broke reality. Fans erupted. Players panicked. Analysts called it the most self-destructive idea in WNBA history. Suspending the most popular athlete on the planet. Suspending the woman whose face single-handedly boosted ratings, ticket sales, merchandise, and international interest. Suspending the one person who brought millions of new fans into the sport. It was lunacy. And fans responded accordingly. "Try it and we walk," one supporter tweeted. "She is the league," another posted. "Suspending her would end you," a third wrote. But while the internet had Caitlyn's back, the league continued scrambling. In another leaked recording, someone from the commissioner's circle can be heard saying, "This is going nuclear. We have to shut her down or give her everything." Everything. That word was terrifying. It meant the league realized how much leverage Caitlyn had, leverage she barely needed to use. Because a new rumor hit next, that major networks were already contacting her team privately, offering support, offering platforms, offering deals independent of the WNBA. If true, that meant she could walk away today, and still be bigger than ever tomorrow. The next twist surfaced when a reporter leaked a message from a high-ranking agent in the sports world. The message read, "Other leagues are watching. She has options." That bombshell shook the WNBA at its core. Because suddenly, this wasn't just about renegotiating a deal. This was about competition. The very idea that Caitlyn Clark, might leave the WNBA for another league, or launch a new venture, or create a media empire independent of league control, sent shockwaves across the entire country. Then came the leak that pushed everything off the cliff. A video. Short. Blurry. Clearly not meant for public eyes. A candid moment of Caitlyn walking out of her meeting, pulling down her hood, looking furious, exhausted, and fed up. A reporter tried to approach her. She didn't stop walking. But she said something, just one line, before disappearing into her black SUV. "They'll hear me one way or another." That one sentence hit harder than any dunk, any buzzer beater, any headline in the history of the sport. It implied she wasn't done fighting. It implied she wasn't afraid. It implied she was prepared to take this war public. And the league knew it. Because minutes after the video went viral, another leak dropped, this one internal, from the commissioner herself. A panicked email: "We must regain control before she goes live." Goes live. Two words that terrified the entire WNBA establishment. Because if Caitlyn Clark went live and addressed everything, every promise, every lie, every pressure point, the truth would escape into the world with no filter, no spin, no containment. And the league might never recover. The final leak of the night came from a player who attended an emergency meeting. Their message was brutal. Tomorrow will be war. And with that, the sports world held its breath. Because the next negotiation session would decide the future. By sunrise, the world was vibrating with anticipation. Tweets turned into countdowns. Sports networks ran non-stop split-screen coverage. Every studio, every podcast, every radio show opened with the same burning question: what will Caitlyn Clark do when she walks into that room today? Even people who didn't follow basketball were glued to their phones, like the fate of civilization was about to be announced. Inside the WNBA headquarters, panic had evolved into something colder, heavier, more dangerous. Executives whispered in corners like co-conspirators. According to multiple insiders, she calmly listed every inconsistency in the proposed CBA. Every broken promise. Every time the league put her on the front lines, but refused to support her with the infrastructure she deserved. She spoke like a lawyer. Like an executive. Like someone who'd been preparing for this moment longer than anyone realized. And then she dropped her first atomic bomb. I'm not signing anything unless players get charter flights. Every team. Every trip. The room erupted. Executives panicked. Owners balked. Someone actually said, "That's impossible." But Caitlin didn't waver. She leaned forward and said, "It's not impossible. You just don't want to." That line leaked within minutes. The internet lost its mind. Fans cheered, screamed, rioted in comment sections. Even NBA legends applauded. But the room wasn't reacting with applause. It reacted with fear. So the league tried to regain control. The commissioner insisted they could revisit travel improvements later. Caitlin rejected it instantly. Then they offered partial charter upgrades, limited routes, conditions. Caitlin rejected those too. Then they tried to pivot to revenue share. And Caitlin detonated her second bomb. Players deserve 50%. Non-negotiable. Executives gasped. Someone whispered, "Is she serious?" But Caitlin didn't blink. She wasn't bluffing. She wasn't flinching. She stared them down with the kind of unshakable certainty that only comes from knowing the world is watching, and that she holds the leverage they tried to pretend she didn't have. A league lawyer argued that revenue share would bankrupt the league. Caitlin replied, "Then maybe the league needs to change." Those words leaked moments later. Fans exploded again. The clip trended globally. Industry analysts called her stance unprecedented, dangerous, historic, revolutionary. But the negotiation room wasn't celebrating. It was unraveling. And then a new leak. Caitlin wasn't fighting alone. Several players, big names, began privately backing her demands. Screenshots surfaced of messages saying, "She's doing what we never could, and she's fighting for all of us," and one powerful, haunting line, "If she falls, we all fall." So the league panicked harder. They brought in new negotiators. They threatened walkouts. They suggested suspensions. They implied consequences if Caitlin didn't compromise. And she delivered her third nuclear bomb. "I'm prepared to step away." Silence. Dead silence. Executives turned pale. Someone nearly fainted. The commissioner looked like she had just been told the league's stadiums were collapsing. And then Caitlin delivered the line that ruptured the entire sports world. "You need me more than I need you." If the league had any hope of controlling the narrative, it evaporated right then and there. But then everything escalated even further. A new leak hit social media, screenshots from a frantic league group chat. Executives were openly panicking. One message read, "If she walks, sponsors walk." Another read, "Networks will burn us alive." But the most bone-chilling message came from one owner, "We always knew this day would come." The world demanded to know what that meant. What day? Why did they expect it? What were they hiding? What weren't they telling the public? Speculation went nuclear. And right when things felt like they couldn't get any more catastrophic, the footage dropped. Someone inside the building, someone with direct access, secretly recorded the final moments of the negotiation. The clip hit the internet like an apocalyptic meteor. Caitlin rising from her chair. The commissioner begging her to reconsider. Executives on the brink of collapse. Staffers scrambling to block the door. And Caitlin delivering one final sentence that echoed like a death knell across the world. If you won't change this league, I will." The clip ended with Caitlin walking out. Not storming out. Walking out. Calm. Controlled. Unbroken. The sports world erupted into instantaneous chaos. Networks cut broadcasts. News anchors screamed. Fans cried. Analysts lost their minds. Athletes across the world spoke out. And then the biggest question of all burst into headlines everywhere. Did Caitlin Clark just walk away from the WNBA? But the cliffhanger wasn't over. Because minutes later, a fourth leak appeared. A screenshot of Caitlin Clark's private calendar. Tomorrow's event, live statement, unscheduled. The world stopped breathing. Was she leaving? Was she starting a movement? A players' rebellion? A rival league? A lawsuit? A bombshell expose? No one knew. But one thing was clear, whatever she said tomorrow would change the sport forever. And now you understand exactly why tomorrow's live statement isn't just another update. It's the moment everything could shatter. Whatever Caitlin Clark is about to reveal, whatever she's preparing to unleash on the world, it will redraw the future of the WNBA, reshape the power structure of professional sports, and expose secrets the league has been terrified to confront. And if you think today was chaotic, tomorrow is going to be an earthquake. So before that detonation hits, before the truth floods every timeline and every news feed, you need to lock yourself in right here. Hit that like button right now, because the second her statement goes live, we are breaking it down frame by frame, word by word, reaction by reaction. And if you're not subscribed with notifications on, you will absolutely miss the very first shockwave of what she's about to drop. Comment below with your prediction. Is Caitlin Clark leaving the league, forming a new one, exposing the negotiations, or pulling a move so legendary it becomes the most iconic moment in women's sports history? Your comment might be the one that nails it before the world even knows what's coming. Do not miss the next chapter. Do not scroll away. Do not assume this ends quietly. Hit subscribe. Turn on alerts. Brace yourself. Because when Caitlin Clark goes live, the entire sports world is going to explode, and you do not want to be on the outside looking in.